friends, it's Brittany here with Green Bee Flowers in Southwestern Ontario. I'm just going to preface this before we kind of launch into the video to say I had fully intended to do a roundup of Valentine's Day this year, and I've learned a few things. One, we're not very efficient at taking video while we're very busy, and so the single clip that you're going to see is me making hearts out of greenery, which is cool, yay. But that's it. That's the only video I took. The second thing is I caught strep throat immediately after Valentine's Day. And so I'm on, I think, day 4 now of antibiotics. My voice has finally come back, which is great. But that also means that I didn't really have the energy or the time or the wherewithal to like even start. I couldn't. I was sick, guys. So we're just gonna gloss over Valentine's. It happened. It was a task. We did really well. The staff, we have such a great team that it just really did go very seamlessly. And honestly, I think because we are such a well-oiled team at the store, we could have handled a significantly higher volume than we had. And that's okay, we'll get there. And I'm not disappointed by any means, just I'm really impressed with how well the team kind of like works together. And that's my recap on Valentine's Day. The big question is, were the tulips ready? We had 6. We had six of our own grown tulips ready for Valentine's Day. And you know what? That's okay. What I will say is they're already in the basement today. The Fantasy Lady tulips that are like a really beautiful double blush tulip that I had planted with the intention of having them ready for Valentine's Day. And then the other ones are actually the Cherry Delights. I had beautiful red and blush pink tulips that we were going to push for Valentine's. And the other ones, the last of the Cherry Delights, which my husband picked over the weekend when I was sick, are sitting on our table. And they were just a little too far gone to bring to the store, but I've had a chance to kind of enjoy them. And they're honestly probably on their last 2 days here as well. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a week here. Now that said, Nick has finished planting the second succession, we got there, of Ranunculus and anemone corms in the greenhouse over at the farm. My goal for today, for this video, is I have to get a bunch of dahlia cuttings done because my dahlia propagation station has been sorely neglected. Actually, these dahlias probably should have started to have their shoots pulled off last week, but I was in bed with a fever and a sore throat. So I'm going to get started on that today. I'll show you how I set that station up. It's a little different from some of the other like major YouTube flower farmers that are on here. I've been using the same method for, I don't know, probably was this my 5th year propagating dahlias. I've never had any issues with it. So I'll show you what I do because it's very simple. It's very user friendly for those of you who do not have access to a greenhouse. And I personally have had really, really good results. And, but I have like very specific trays and things that I use. And so I'll show you guys kind of those as well. And I'll try and remember to link those down below. But anyways, we'll get started on today's video. So that's just the recap. Oh, he's been busy here. We have a countertop. You can see the growth. Oh, look at the babies coming up down at the end. Okay, so we're out here at the hoop house putting the cloney ranunculus in now. Nick's gotten the rest of the elegance all in this week while I have been battling the strep. So just one of the questions I got about the ranunculus was For those of you who don't have access to the Cloney Ranunculus corms, they are in fact bigger than the regular elegance or the Amandine Ranunculus, right? So this is probably about 3 times the size of an Amandine, and about double the size of some of our regular, our regular elegance Ranunculus. So this is the first year we're growing these. They're supposed to be great, supposed to be beautiful. But I will say, like, big corms, bigger plants, we'll be spacing them a little further apart. First year pussy willows right here. We actually propagated these guys from pussy willows that we got from the wholesaler. So these are good. This patch is gonna get bigger. There's 3 of them here, but we're gonna put in more. Okay, so I also wanted to show you why. So for context, I think that people, as a rule, overthink ranunculus. And here's why. Okay, so like a couple weeks ago we had a pretty deep freeze here where the temperature went down a lot, and I have ranunculus planted here, right? We forgot to dig those up last year, so these are already, they've been here for like 18 months, maybe longer. Pretty sure I did a video where we planted these like last year, but like they're fine. There's sprouts coming up everywhere, and like these corms are old, so I think I see so many farmers who like freak out every time, you know, the weather goes below 0 and they have ranunculus in their greenhouse, and I'm like, it might like stunt your nuncs for like a week. And I understand when you're like trying to think about planting for specific holidays in mind, i.e. Mother's Day, but I also want to remind you that, you know, for flower farmers, is some of your crops are gonna be okay. You gotta trust them, especially for cold hardy plants like ranunculus, right? It's not the cold that kills them. Annie, here, just in case you're wondering, she's huge. It's not the cold that kills them, right? It's the moist. So like, if you need to protect them, throw a layer of straw over top of them and let them go. Like, they'll be fine. Don't overthink it. I've had anemones survive years back here. Like, they just keep coming back up every year. So like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So it's the next day from the video footage from the ranunculus. I'd actually meant to take this video yesterday. As it turns out, my body's still not 100%, so I'm trying to like listen to it and not overexert myself, which is hard to do when there's so much stuff that needs to be done. So anyways, right now we have some tulips that I do need to pull, so we're gonna get those harvested. See a few hyacinths back there that we missed, but that's okay. We got to get these harvested because I'm headed to the shop in about an hour, and I want to make sure that we bring these along with us. So this is a double white variety, and they're beautiful. These were supposed to be ready for Valentine's last week, but they're ready now, so we'll get them picked and we'll get them ready to go. Lovely, the blooms on them. So this is the stage, they are doubles, so this is the stage that I'm picking them at because they are more colored up. It means they're gonna bloom a little bit better for the customer, but like, they're so nice. more tulips to harvest today. I've got larkspur to pot up, and we're finally gonna get to the dahlia cuttings, which I talked about doing 3 days ago. But my energy's back, so at least we're getting better. So let's grab some more tulips. We've got some that are going to be going to the wholesaler, and then the rest are going to be going to the store. There's a whole bunch. There's like a full crate of they're actually Angelique. I think I said they were a different variety. Angelique is like a really pretty blush centered white exterior tulip. She's beautiful. Isabel, you're in the way, sweet girl. Hi. Good girl, can you move? You're in the way. No, go see Caitlin. Look at Izzy.
Don't stare at the phone.
She's like, no, come on. Hey.
Isabel.
She sees herself in the phone.
What are you doing?
Look at how pretty. So when I pick the tulips inside, we have these, they're like medicine crates that we actually get from our neighbor that lives beside us. They are the perfect height, perfect length for the tulips that we grow inside. And it's great because they, unlike like regular crates, right, which are, have holes through them, these are nice because they don't. So I can set the tulips straight in these, and then we can bring them directly to the shop like this, and then the girls will process them there. But then I like it because they will lay flat. I just, look at the colors, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like that blush in there. Oh, that's next level. They're so pretty. So for dahlia cuttings, so what you want to make sure you're using for the bottom is a tray, flat tray that does not have any perforations, right? So you don't want anything with slits because you're going to be bottom watering your dahlia propagates. We use these ones, they're really great. And then I have a specific type of cell tray that I like to put in these. So I'm going to grab those, 1 second. Okay. So normally when we are doing like regular potting up and propagating and things with, you know, we use the 4 cell trays that we can fit 48 of them, like in one of those flat trays. What I like to use for my dahlias is actually these wonderful things. And I think this is a Jiffy brand. I've been using the same ones for 4 years now. So these are my most prized cell trays, and I will tell you why. Unlike the 72 cell trays that tend to be just a little too long or wide for your flat trays, they don't sit quite flat on these. What I like about these guys is how wonderfully flat, right, they sit in here. And there's a little bit of movement, so I can get my watering can underneath of here to water my dahlia tubers. Plus there is, I think this is 120 cells. Let me count for a second. 12 times 6, what is that, Caitlin? We're sitting here trying to do math.
72.
Is it a 72?
Yeah.
12 times 6 is 72?
Sure.
Disregard. This is also a 72. Anyways, I just like it because they sit a lot flatter in these regular trays that we have here. And honestly, I think, you know, a big issue with losing propagates anyways is like irregular watering. So it's regardless of what you're doing, it's important to make sure that your tray is flat. Like I said, I've been using these specific ones for 4 years already, and I'm gonna get like a long life out of these yet. So these guys are the ones I'm gonna be filling up today, and then I'm gonna show you how I pull the starts off of the dahlias so that we can propagate them. Okay, so I have the first half of my dirt filled. Now the reason why I like these is because I can fill up half of these trays at a time. They're divided into 2. I do this because obviously we want to avoid the fungus gnats, which are inevitable, but they happen. So by only doing the amount of dirt that you need at one time really helps to deal a little bit with that issue. So look at how beautiful. Like they're very, we've got a bunch of them in here that are like very ready. Some of them are just kind of starting to eye up now. It depends really on the variety. Some tubers are just, it takes them longer than others, and that is okay. I try and water these minimally, so like once a week my tubers get just a little bit of a drink from the bottom. The worst thing you can do for your dahlia tubers is to give them too much water, because then the tubers themselves will start to rot. So that is really important. The things that you are going to need for your dahlia propagation. So the first thing, I use wooden coffee sticks. I get flack for this every year in my comment section, and I think it's so funny because people are like, oh my god, the mold. The mold is fine. Don't worry about the mold. It's not gonna, they don't care. Your tubers, your new baby dahlias do not care. These are great because you can compost them at the end of the season, and as you continue to up pot, right, you're gonna label them. When you put them in, you're gonna, you know, label the cell. Oh, you can't see that on camera. You're gonna label the cell. This is going to have the name of the dahlia tuber, the name of the dahlia on it, and you are going to keep just moving these over into the bigger containers as you keep, you know, increasing the size of the dahlia tuber cutting, so that it does in fact, you know, turn into a real dahlia, and then it can go out into the field in a time that is good for it. So this selection of dahlias that I have beside me are ones that I know that I needed extra stock of. Ones that I only really bought 1 or 2 tubers of last year because they were, you know, they're the unicorns of the green bee, you know, seek and ye shall find dahlia Hunger Games varieties. And I wanted to make sure I could increase stock on these because I would like, you know, within the next 2 years to have a full row of these at the farm, and a row for us is about 50 of the same dahlia. So when you start with one, right, 1 dahlia tuber, like 1 to 2 dahlia tubers, you really got to focus in on increasing that stock so that you have enough to make it a profitable crop the following year. First year for us for dahlias is never about profitability. It is about seeing how the dahlia grows. And then seeing how the tubers survive the winter, because if the tubers are not going to survive the winter for us here, you can store them properly, you know, as much as you want, but if they're not going to survive in the climate and the moisture levels that we have, doesn't matter how pretty it is, there's no point in me trying to keep it from year after year, right? So when you are flower farming, which is very different from when you are gardening, I'm not looking for a lot of varieties of dahlias, I want consistent varieties of dahlias. So propagating the ones that I know that we really like and that are good sellers for us and that have great blooms and good vase lives and all of those things that I trial with them the first year that they come in is really going to help me kind of, you know, plan the farm going forward. So that's where we are. That's what we're doing today. And I'll show you the next step. So labels, pen, most importantly. And some farmers like to use either snips or knives. I do not. I use the wiggle method to get the little nubbins, little growth pieces off the tubers. So I will show you how I do that. So I will pull Castle Drive out first so that you can see what I'm doing here. So this tuber is Castle Drive. I know it is Castle Drive because it had the correct yellowing on the outside of the flowers versus my corally babies, which are over here, which are much more blush, right? They are different. They're often sold as the same, but I did manage to trial and accurately know that I have the correct ones. So my very first propagate of 2024, still wild to me that it is 2024, is going to be Castle Drive. So before we do anything else, we write Castle Drive. On my stick. Let me stick it in before anything. So the next thing that I'm going to do. So looking in here, right, I'm going to give you guys a decent view of this. So this is where it connects to the eye. Now, it is important to note that this is the only eye on this specific tuber, albeit it looks good. I want to be really careful when I'm taking this off and wiggling this off to make sure that I'm not damaging the actual eye piece itself, right? Because this will continue to grow more shoots around it. So what you want to make sure that you are doing is the following. Okay, again, I should have done this at a much earlier stage, but here we are. So always, always, always hold the top of your tuber, and then you're just going to very carefully wiggle this around. Now, you don't want to just directly pull it off. That's going to damage the eye. But if you wiggle it, and then come in with your nail, you're just going to take off right there. So now, because this guy's a little bigger, right, I've left a small piece of the first shoot on there. This is just going to tell the tuber to put out more sprouts around it, and we will continue to take those because yes, you can. Now the next thing you want to do when you're doing tubers is you want to make sure you're taking off these bottom pieces of foliage here. So these two for sure, but then also this next set of leaf depending on how high you are getting. So the one thing I hear and from Dahlia, people propagating dahlias a lot, is, you know, they stuck it in and it didn't actually root. Well, what you need to root are these shoots. Like, you need those nodes on the tuber, or on the shoot, sorry. You need these nodes here, because that's where your new roots are going to grow. You can dip this in rooting hormone.
I was trying to be quiet.
That's okay. You can dip this in rooting hormone. I don't. So in it goes. Make sure it's all the way in. And then once this is rooted, we will start to see new growth coming up the top of that. And I will be able to just like dig underneath of this with my, my wooden stick here. You'll be able to dig this up and you'll be able to kind of see the roots. And then this whole piece is going to come out, and we up pot it usually into a bigger pot. Depending on the root size, it's either going to go into a 4-inch round or a 2-inch round. And that is how we do dahlia tubers. It's very easy. Typically, when I take dahlias, I actually take them just a little further along than this one here. So this guy I'll probably pull off in a couple days. What I like to do is get them normally no later than like this brown sugar here. So you can see it's not very tall. It's only about 1.5 inches high. This Castle Drive is already quite large, this one down here, and so it's going to take a bit of time. So we'll do that brown sugar next. So like it can be a smidge time consuming, but it's definitely worth it. My friend's over in the corner there. She's busy seeding. What are you doing? Feverfew right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's busy seeding like the next 500 Feverfew.
Just your friend. Not like I haven't been in the YouTube videos before.
Our bestie Caitlin. Oof, American Dawn went for it. I'm probably gonna cut her down. Look at the size of this beefy. So this is American Dawn. She went for it. I'll deal with her after. But she's actually got 2 sprouts there. This one's a little big. Oh, and she got the spider web. And this one is actually right beside it, is the perfect size. Rock Run Ashley's a slender little girl, eh? Look at her. There's so many more eyes on them that are like just starting. It's wild. It's also a good sign when they have roots growing out the bottom of their containers already. These guys are ready to go. And that's it. That is how I propagate my dahlia tubers. So it's very simple. Now these guys will go back. I don't put them on a heat mat generally. You can if you have a cold basement, but we are at the point now where I'm opening windows down here to keep the airflow going because she getting spicy. So I'm just gonna put these out normally and then keep them watered, you know, every other day. I don't want to overwater them. You don't want your roots to rot. You just want the soil to be like moist enough that when you touch it, you've got a little bit of dirt on your fingers. And then I'll come back in a couple days and pull some more propagation parts. Thanks, Caitlin. I'll come back in a couple days and pull some more sprouts. That's the word. I'll pull some sprouts off of these again, and we'll just, you know, keep filling this all the way up. When I get to the end of my row here, then I will add the second one behind, and there you go. That's 72 new dahlias like that. Mama? Are you needlessly happy? see it? Do you see it? Okay, so I didn't go overboard on the floret seed order, but I did order a few things that I knew would be things we would sell. And also because I knew that some of these would be really exciting for some of our brides, right? Peach fuzz, of course, we all know is the Pantone color of the year. And so in ordering from Floret, I made sure to bring things in that were definitely in that color palette. All right, here we go. You're seeing this the same time I am. Ooh. Ooh. So this is cool, right? Nice little book all about what they've done and pictures and seed sorting basics. So if you guys did order the floret seeds, just know you get a cool package with it. And then a nice little postcard, which is cool, and then our seeds, which is really exciting. So if anybody cares, my order form. But here's what we've got. So I ordered 3 types of zinnias, and then I ordered 1 type of celosia. So I really wanted the Alpenglow, which is this one. It's just a really nice peachy zinnia. Then ordered Precious Metals, which is this one here. And it is slightly pinker, right between the two. The Precious Metals is that really, really big one. And then I was really excited about this one because I like color. Was Chris's unicorn mix. So this is really fun. I'm excited about these. And then we got the Spun Sugar Celosia. Like, I could have ordered all of it, but I really wanted to practice some restraint and only get the stuff that I knew we would be able to utilize most for the farm. And I'm really excited, like really excited about this celosia. So I think that's a little bitty floret order, but we did do that. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. If you'd like to follow along on our flower journey, please hit the subscribe button. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.